America dominated the skies in the Gulf War so much that Iraqi pilots would not even leave the ground. Some U.S. fighter pilots in the Gulf trained at the Navy Fighter Weapons School in Miramar, California, better known as Top Gun School. It is a demanding place, and Inside Edition was allowed inside for a rare look at who has the right stuff. Here's Dan Goldfarth's report.
Our mission is to train the best fighter air crews we could possibly train. Prepare them to the utmost of our ability so that they can win in combat. We want to push the limit to the limit as much as we can.
They are the Top Guns, gunslingers in the sky. The Navy's best come here to fly the most sophisticated and deadly weapons in the U.S. arsenal, to push the envelope to the outer limits. For 5 weeks, they undertake the ultimate course in air-to-air combat.
We have to fly the airplanes to the maximum extent possible. If we give away performance of our own airplane, then we give the advantage potentially to our enemy.
Lieutenant Commander Joe Christopherson is about to become Top Gun's executive officer, its second in command.
Probably the best thing about Top Gun is the flying part of it is the absolute best anywhere.
What do you feel like when you're in that plane taking off?
Excitement, thrills, focused because we got a job to do. But I think underlying is fun.
Top Gun instructors Marine Major Tony Valentino and Navy Lieutenant Commander Matt Lydon are both F-18 pilots. Their planes are not as big or as powerful as the F-14 Tomcat, but they are pretty sure they can outmaneuver them. What is the basic responsibility of a jet fighter pilot?
Well, that's one of the beauties of this job is it's really very simple, and that's to destroy enemy aircraft, basically to kill them before they kill you.
How confident are you that we can beat anybody out there?
Regardless of the threat, I would say that we could defeat any threat that we go against.
Top Gun was created in the late 60s when American losses in the skies over Vietnam reached frightening proportions. The admirals and generals in Washington had decided that the new F-4 Phantom, with its advanced radar system and air-to-air missiles, had eliminated the need for the close-in dogfight of old. They were so sure of this that they stripped the plane of its guns. But they were wrong.
The kill ratio was 2 to 1. You understand what I mean? For they would get one of us for every 2 enemy we'd shoot down. That was, the average was 12 to 1 in Second World War and 12 to 1 in Korea. So we were doing miserably.
In 1969, a young Navy fighter pilot, Lieutenant Commander Dan Pedersen, was asked to create and command the Navy Fighter Weapons School.
They said, do it as quickly as you can. The war is going on. You know, you're dealing in human life there. We knew we were all going to go again. We knew what the problem was.
Pedersen and his men were told to complete the task within 60 days, but were given few tools to work with. That's when Pedersen recruited a blunt-speaking, sticky-fingered lieutenant named Steve Smith.
I was able to provide assets and cut through red tape and acquire things as we needed them. And I used to like to say things like they were, and so they had to defend me occasionally. But all in all, we had to steal whatever we had.
Give me an example.
The building, all of our furniture, the equipment. Airplanes you couldn't really steal, so we had to borrow them.
It's existed for 22 years. It has an international reputation. Competitively, everybody wants to come here. And we're damn proud to be back and get to see it. It's phenomenal.
Scream of Eagles by Robert Wilcox is the complete story of Top Gun and the original pilots who wrote the book on air combat. But words are inadequate to describe the experience of flying in a jet fighter. It's something few civilians ever experience, and I was honored to be offered a ride in the back seat of an A-4 Skyhawk. But first, basic survival training included a trip to the decompression chamber. It's used to teach pilots the subtle dangers of oxygen deprivation. At 25,000 feet, oxygen masks are removed. The symptoms include loss of coordination and giddiness. Unless a pilot realizes in time what's happening, the results could be fatal. The ejection seat was next. If a jet loses its engine, you must eject. There is no choice, so you must know what to do.
Eject, eject, eject. You're okay, give me a thumbs up.
After a pre-flight briefing, I was relieved to find that my pilot was Joe Christopherson. I was somewhat apprehensive, however, to learn that we were to take part in actual air combat maneuvers. After getting comfortable in the rear seat of Christopherson's A4 Skyhawk, I was given a quick introduction to the flight controls.
This is the stick, throttle.
Now we were to follow and observe the two F-16s playing the enemy aggressors battle against two F-14D Tomcats, the world's most advanced jets. Once we were airborne, we slid into a loose formation for the short hop to the Air Combat Range over the desert just west of Yuma, Arizona. Over the next hour, the flight was a blur of high-speed turns, dives, and barrel rolls, with the horizon doing complete 360s behind me. Being a part of this air combat exercise was the most exciting and dynamic experience of my life, but I was also very happy when we finally returned to base. The most impressive part of Top Gun are the young men and women who work there.
We do here on a day-to-day basis what every fighter pilot in the world wants to do, and that's to go out and fight airplanes.
What does that sound mean to you?
The sound of freedom.
Once again, Inside Edition reporters will do just about anything. The average age of a combat pilot is 26, and you have to retire at 42.